देखिए, today we will discuss about development journalism, and this is a question that everybody asks. I mean, every citizens questions media, and they ask that whether media is doing development journalism or not. If we and this is a very critical question about media, because common people want developmental journalism. They want that media should put up their issues before the government, before the authority, and media should initiate discussions on the issues related to them. And that's why these questions become bigger, because when we see the current status of media, we find that media is not doing the thing which is required. People question, I'm not saying that media is not doing completely, and there are certain other limitations also why media cannot operate according to people's wish. So first, let us discuss what is development journalism and how it can be done. So the concept of development journalism is based on two basic principles. First principle is that development is a central social objective, and second is that mass media play a decisive role in this process, right? So there is no question about the first objective, that development should be the central social objective of any country. But when first this thing, this principle should be believed by everybody. There are people also who feel that no, I mean, apart from development, there are other issues also. How to manipulate people, how to do caste politics, how to do religion-based politics, and development go side by side. So first, this should be accepted that yes, development is a central objective, first thing. And second, that we feel that mass media can play a decisive role in this process, whether media can play a role or not. This is also a question. People say that if media would start reporting the issues related to development, if media would start setting agenda related to development, then certainly government will be pressurized and development issues become important. So we feel that because we have witnessed that how mass media set agenda, and media people must be knowing about agenda setting theory, that how media sets agenda for the nation. And if you do content analysis, people do such kind of studies, and we find that development never remain the one of the agenda of media houses. And you will find that international relations, our relationship with Pakistan, China, border issues, politics, these kind of issues are agenda. Crime related stories, these are agenda of media. So first, that development, media houses and everybody should believe that development is a central objective, and that's why we have to work on that. And if we have believe on this, then only mass media will also start playing a role in this process, right? And there's no need to discuss that development includes all types of upliftment, that is economic, social, cultural, of the weaker section of the society as a whole. Weaker section should be focused first, and if when weaker section will be uplifted, obviously overall society will be developed, right? So development journalism is a concept dealing with development through communication, right? So you cannot ask media people. So many times you will find that there is a famous incident of Africa when a photographer kept making a video while a vulture kept waiting for a baby to die, and he kept making that video and that boy died, that baby died, and then vulture went to that baby and started eating that dead body. Right. So this is one of the famous incident, and there is a question on journalist that what was he doing there, why he could not help that baby to survive, why he could not take that baby to the hospital, and all these kind of things. Even in India, I will find that if some molestation kind of thing is happening, or some criminal activities are going on, and when journalists are recording all those incidents, people ask that why journalist was only busy in recording that incident, why journalists could not go and help that victim. So basically, you have to understand that media people are only to communicate. They are not policemen. They are not, some authority. So they are doing their job. First, we will have to understand and think about that incident. That when that video came up to the people, or that Africa video that the baby is dying and vulture is watching that baby to die. When that video came up, whole world was stunned, and after that you will find that all the international organizations, all the developed nations started sending funds to the African nations, and then developmental work started there. So there is always that video helped the whole world to understand the plight of African people. And if that journalist would not have shot that incident and would have tried to help that baby, then world would have never known the fact that how Africa is facing the problem of starvation. So he has done his duty, and obviously because he was very disturbed and he committed suicide afterward, because he was very disturbed that he could not save a baby. So that is his personal satisfaction, that he was not satisfied. He must be feeling that he should have done something. So, but if journalist is covering the incident, if journalist is reporting the incident, it means that the journalist is working, journalist is doing their job. You should not ask them to go to the field and start helping people like NGO and authority or policeman, right? So first, you must understand this thing, that development journalism is a concept dealing with development through communication. I mean, you must communicate the thing. And what kind of communication? Reporting of ideas, reporting of programs, and reporting of events. Whatever programs, governmental programs, events, if any events are happening which are related to development, that event should be reported, and ideas also, that how people, idea of awareness, idea of some new initiatives. So these kind of things should be reported by journalists, and which are related to an improvement of the living standards, mainly in the rural region, right? So yes, so this is the development journalism, what we are talking about. Now come to the one of the concept which is very important, that is concept of public sphere. And this is very important for you people to know, that how some people say that why there is a need of doing development journalism. There are people who say that if media houses are earning money by just concentrating on urban consumers, then why they need to go for rural communication, and why they require to do development journalism? There are people who raise these kind of questions, right? So why this is important? First of all, there are some journalistic ethics. This is the common understanding, that there are certain journalistic ethics, and that ethics says that you claim, journalists claim that we are here to serve the people, and if you are not serving the people, then certainly you are not following the journalistic ethics. This is the common thing to defend, that journalism must be based on developmental thing. The journalism must be for the people's cause, right? You are not here to make money, right? You never claim that you are here to do business. You always said that you are here to enlighten people, you are here to serve the people. So you must be aware of the ethics of journalism, and you must follow that. This is the common thing to defend and to support the argument that why journalism should be based on development. There is an important concept of public sphere also, and this also support that journalism should be based on development. And this concept was given by Jurgen Habermas, and he was a socialist, and then he was also later on became communication scholar. And the public sphere theory says that what is public sphere? He says that public sphere is an area in social life where individuals can come together to freely discuss and identify societal problems, and through that discussion influence political action. What is public sphere? Public sphere is an area. It means, suppose that I am an individual, you are an individual, and all individuals come together to discuss a problem, and then finding a solution, and finally influence the political party or the people who are authority. We should influence them to take action, appropriate action. So this is public sphere. So, I mean, everyone is part of public sphere. You cannot say that I am not part of public sphere, right? Public sphere mediates between private sphere and the sphere of public authority. So it is a mediation between our private sphere and public authority, so that all the people should come together and mediate between our personal affairs and public sphere, and then we should ask authority to do something as we want, right? So this is the concept of public sphere, and media is also a part of public sphere. As media operate in the society, then media is also a part of public sphere. It cannot say that we are not a part of public sphere. It means that media should also be involved in mediating private sphere and public sphere. I mean, a sphere of public authority. So media what is media? Media inform the authority about the plight of common people, and media also inform common people about the decision taken by the authority. So media always is in middle. So it is a duty of media to discuss and identify societal problems, right? Because you belong to that area, so you cannot deny your duty. You have to find out what are the problems, and you should influence political action. You should ask authority to take appropriate actions, right? So this is what public sphere is, but public sphere demands certain things, right? Habermas gave 3 institutional criteria as preconditions for the emergence of public sphere. First of all, disregard of status. No one is big, no one is small, everybody is equal, right? There should not be any, you should start disregarding status. You should not feel that you are something big, right? You should start feeling that no, you are just a part of that bigger community. All are equals, right? The first precondition is that disregard to status. Second is domain of common concern. Public sphere should be based on common concern, common issues. It should not be based on some specific issues which are related to some specific people. No, it is a domain of common concern. Common concern like common people problem, roads, safety, electricity, infrastructure, all these kind of common concern related things are should be there, and it must be inclusive. There must be inclusivity in our public sphere. It means it should be open for everybody. If any party anyone want to come in to that public sphere, it should be open to all. Now try to understand that which kind of public sphere we have. See our authorities, do they have this kind of disregard to status? Do our media discuss about domain of common concern, or they are discussing about something else? Do our media is inclusive enough to take the cause of common people, or it is just manipulated by some big players? So these are certain things which are preconditions. You have to bring in all these preconditions, then only you can easily operate in public sphere. You can be part of the public sphere. right? Which is very important theory of Habermas, and even you can see about these preconditions, whether these preconditions exist, or not, at every institutions or every authority level. You go to DM office and find that whether all these things are available or not, right? So this is the public sphere. There are certain theories of development journalism. First is authoritarian, second is libertarian, or third is social responsibility theory. These theories relate to development journalism. First is authoritarian theory. This theory was adopted during colonial era, right? And this theory believes that state is more important than individual, right? What authorities believe, that authority believe that individuals' freedom, individuals' rights are not important. State's development, state sovereignty is more important than individuals' freedom. And because it is authoritarian, so whatever our government decides, whatever authority decides, that is true, that is good, and that should be adopted by everybody, whether it may be hampering the personal freedom of a people. You have to accept that thing because it is decided by authority that this is good for our state. So if this is the concept, then what? The media will be used as instrument of social control. If authority believes that whatever they have decided is good, then certainly media is not permitted to report against the authority. And that's why we'll find that even in Hitler, Mussolini, all in Stalin era, you will find that media was just a tool in their hand. Media used to propagate the same thing which authority used to say, right? So this kind of authoritarian theory, authoritarian kind of regime is not good for media. Truth is limited. What authoritarian theory believes, that truth is limited and not all individuals have access to it, right? Truth is not available to everybody. Truth is only known by authority. Whatever decided by authority, that is only truth. So all the individuals have not access to it, so don't try to have access to the truth. Whatever authority is saying, just accept that, right? Most people have to accept the truth as articulated by the authority and conform to this truth in their thought and action. Whatever authority says, you have to accept in your thought, in your action. So authority do not tolerate any criticism. If you will criticize, you will be punished. So this is the authoritarian theory. And the colonial era in our country also, when Britishers were here, this kind of theory was adopted, and nobody was permitted to write against the authority, and media was used as a tool for them. And in other countries also, when you go to Germany, when there was a Hitler era, in Italy, Mussolini era, in Russia, even now, Russian media is based on this theory itself, because they are not allowed to report anything against the authority or anything by their own. Whatever is decided by authority, whatever authority says them to report, they can report only that thing. So even now there are certain countries, even in North Korea, this theory is applicable. Authoritarian theory is in place in North Korea, in Cuba also. So there are some countries where this theory exists, still exists, right? There are second theory, that is libertarian theory. This theory gives importance to the wisdom of the people. It believes that people have wisdom to understand what is truth, what is not truth, what is good, what is bad. So importance must be given to the wisdom of the people. And theorists believe that people are rational beings who are able to distinguish right or wrong. So if they can, they are rational, they have their wisdom, they can decide by their own. So that their wisdom of the common people must be given importance. So libertarian theory believes that society should create a free market of ideas, right? It means that everyone is free to give their ideas, and that idea will be available to everybody, so that people could look at different idea and then choose them freely. Some idea may be beneficial for me, some idea may be beneficial for other. So there must be a free market of idea, and media must be dealing in that. Media must be liberated, and media must be allowed to report all kind of ideas to the people, so that people may have choices, right? So they feel that where all ideas have equal chance, truth will stand and win, right? Simple thing, that if all ideas are there, a wrong idea will not win, right? Truth will prevail at last. Truth will win. So let's have all the people have their idea and just report them, and at last the right thing will win, obviously. But there is a criticism also of authoritarian theory, that people begin to see that media could use information not to inform people, but rather just increase the circulation of the newspaper, right? So if you believe in libertarian theory, so this is the thing, that what happens, that if on the name of liberty, what our newspapers are not giving importance to the reporting of ideas, but basically they try to increase the circulation of the newspaper. They are not very much concerned. They are not very much interested in giving them ideas. They are just, because they have been given liberty, so now they are using their freedom to circulation. And how will they increase their circulation? By reporting the things which are not important, by the reporting of crime, the cinema, yellow journalism, all kind of sensational stories, sensational thing, and they get into this, right? So this is a criticism. If you will give liberty to the media, this kind of things also happen, and we have witnessed this kind of things also, right? Now, fourth theory is, third is social responsibility theory, which says that media should operate under certain moral and ethical boundaries, and which is now, I mean, every country, even in India, this theory is applicable, and where everyone believes that media should must have certain moral and ethical boundaries, and then must have certain obligations, right? So when this kind of ethics comes in, it means that no one will control, authority will not control, and media should also not be given liberty completely, but there must be certain ethical obligations. And what are those obligations? That is, it must be informative. Media must be informative. It must be truthful. It must report accurate things. It must be objective. It must create balance between reporting of ideas, right? These kind of ethical boundaries are being drawn, and everyone believes that media should follow all these ethics. But again, now we come to the public sphere theory, where we have already discussed that why media need to follow these moral obligations, because you claim that you work for people and you are here to serve the people, right? So you cannot deny that you have to follow these ethical boundaries, right? So this is what, I mean, if we talk about development journalism, why we need to do development journalism, these are certain, I mean, academic discourses where you can understand that why media need to do all these kind of things. At the same time, freedom is important in this theory. You have moral obligations, ethical boundaries, but you are free. Media must guard against certain interferences by the state. State always try to guard you. State always try, and even these kind of reports come in, whether you will find that big players, big millionaires or billionaires are investing in TV channels, and they are having control over those channels. Even on newspapers also, we find that newspapers are being controlled by business houses, and these business houses are very much, I mean, related with governments in power, and this kind of that's why there is a talk of crony capitalism. Crony capitalism means that capitalist class control the government, and capitalist class is not only controlling government, they are also controlling the people's opinion, because they have control over the media. These are certain critical issues which we keep discussing, but I'm just giving you some lines on which you can write some great write-ups, you can write some articles, right? So you must understand that yes, media is free, but they are under certain moral obligations. Media must guard, but that's why it is said that you are free, but you must be aware, you must guard your from any interferences by the state. And there are many houses. Even now you will find that there are so many websites there are so many individual people who are against preferences by their state, and that's why they are reporting by their own, they are running their own channels. But I mean, these kind of channels and these kind of people are now less. They are not being welcomed by our society. They are not being they are not very popular. But one day, I think one day it will happen that when small scale printing newspapers will start, printing of newspapers will start, small scale, when in at the era of independence, freedom struggle, we will find that at that time government had control over publications. And what our freedom fighters did, they published many pamphlets, many newspapers without the approval of government. So this kind of thing will start again, because we find that media is not reporting the things which are needed to be reported, right? So this is very important, that it must be aware about the interferences by the state. It is also important to, it must guard against pressure groups also, right? There are pressure groups, and pressure groups are many. It may be political party, it may be some religious party, right? There are so many pressure groups, and you must be aware of their interferences also. Journalists themselves must exercise the responsibility, especially when they are working with media groups that are privately owned, right? Because private, I just said that business houses are very much concerned with their businesses, so they don't want to, they don't want their media houses to report anything against the government. So that's why we'll find that every media houses are supporting all the programs, supporting all the initiatives taken by the government. You will not find any critical story on the newspaper which goes against the overall functioning of media. Media should always be critical to all the things. This is not the thing that if you have a program and 99 people are getting benefited of that and one people is not getting benefits, so media should also focus on that person who is not getting benefits. Media should not focus on that thing that 99 people are getting benefited. This is work of government. Government always claim these kind of things, that yes, we have achieved this, we have achieved this. Government do this. But when media will start doing the same thing, then what is the role of media then? You have to pick up those areas where government has not reached yet. So this is overall functioning of media, but yes, we are lacking nowadays. So, so development journalism is an instrument of social justice and a tool for achieving beneficial social change. So you must believe that development journalism, we need to do that because we have to get social justice and social change. We have to start the process of social change in our society. So this is the overall development journalism. What are the advantages of development journalism? Press can help government to push unpopular but necessary policies. Why we need to development journalism? Because if government want to push some necessary policies, they might be unpopular, right? But if media will start doing development journalism, then obviously media will start supporting this, that this policy is required for the nation, right? There are several examples nowadays that take the example of a common civil code, right? Government try to push that common civil code, but due to some reason or other, it is not happening. But media should start, if media will follow development journalism, then certainly what media will do? Media will start supporting this unpopular policy, because this is necessary, right? So first advantage is this. Second is, press can be a tool for nation building. Third, press can be a tool to make consensus among citizens of the country on a certain issues. There are certain issues where the media can work as consensus maker. Press can be a tool to promote social justice. Press can be a tool to sensitize people on various social and political issues. So these are certain advantages. There are certain disadvantages also of development journalism. press becomes far less critical and eventually is forced to give up its watchdog role in society. As I told you, that on the name of development journalism, what people say that we should start supporting the programs of the government because we are doing development journalism. But when you do so, you are giving up your watchdog role. And watchdog role, what it is that the thing which is are not good in the society, that should be reported first, right? So you are forced to give up your watchdog role. It becomes pander to the government and act like government mouthpiece. You become government mouthpiece then. On the name of development journalism, you just support all the programs of government. You don't question that because you feel that you are doing development journalism. Press gives up its right to question the government and authority and demand accountability. These are certain role of press, that it should question the government, it should question the authority, and it should always demand accountability from the authority, right? But if, on the name of development journalism, you might give up all these rights, right? So in the name of common good, government controls the press. What happens when you start supporting the government policies? If you start supporting all the programs of all the initiatives taken by government, one day will come when government will start controlling the press. And there is an example in 1975 when Indira Gandhi imposes censorship on press. Why? Because they said that we are doing common good. This is a threat to the nation and we have to protect the nation, then press should be controlled. Right? So don't even, media should not give up its right to question the government. It should always keep questioning the government. This is what is role. This is, and by doing this only, our nation will be strengthened. Right? So these are certain disadvantages of development journalism. Now there are various types of development journalism, and these are certain types. First one is investigative journalism. Second is intellectual development journalism. Third one is civic journalism. Then news analysis, advocacy journalism, interpretative reporting, rural or community journalism, peace journalism, and green journalism. Right. So these are certain types. We will discuss some of these types in detail, and these are very common thing. Investigative journalism means you investigate certain things, certain issues, and try to bring it out before the people. Intellectual development journalism means there are certain issues people don't know anything, and people lack intellectual depth which are needed to analyze a thing. So newspaper and media should also be providing these kind of stories or these kind of analysis, whether people may understand new phenomena, people may be intellectually developed. So these kind of journalism is also a part of development journalism. Then civic journalism. Civic journalism means all the things related to civic thing, like roads, electricity, infrastructure, all these kind of civic issues in urban centers, sanitation, then parks, police system, security, safety, health facilities. All these things come under civil journalism. So even newspapers cover these kind of issues. Then news analysis. News analysis means, any new policy by government, any new initiatives taken by government, and newspapers and media analyze that story. Take the example of recently passed farmers bill, and there is a protest in Delhi, and there are people who support this farm bill. So media should provide some analytical stories regarding the policy of government, so that people may know the exact thing, whether it is good for farmers or not. Right. So these kind of things media do. Then advocacy journalism. Advocacy, to advocate certain new behavior, new things, right? So take the example of having, I mean, people are not wearing masks in this corona period. So media houses may advocate these things through writings and through providing some stories related to this. So advocacy journalism is also a part of development journalism. Interpretative journalism, I mean, interpreting a thing in a positive manner. Whatever the things happen, and media interpret the things. So that kind of reporting is also a kind of development journalism. Rural and community journalism, I mean, even rural issues, rural things, community based things. P. Sainath is one of the example who did rural journalism, and who used to write a lot of things about rural people. uh, so that kind of journalism is also a type of development journalism. Peace journalism. Peace journalism means that media should not be warmongers. If we so many times we find that our TV channels, particularly, they try to, I mean, behave that, I mean, they want war. If they cover any China issue or Pakistan issue, they try to cover it in a manner that India is very much ready to go for war. So these kind of war mongering reporting, I mean, emotionally charge our citizen also. And it put pressure on government to act actively. So that kind of journalism is, so many times it is harmful. Media should not behave like warmongers. Media should go for peace journalism. It means how to be peaceful, how to promote peace in the society. So that kind of journalism is in fashion right now, because this is a new field. Peace journalism is a new field, and people are working on that. Green journalism also, reporting about, it's environmental journalism, you can say that, reporting about environmental thing, environmental concerns, and all these kind of things are green journalism. So these are various types, and let us discuss some of these types in detail, so that you may have better understanding about investigative. Take the first thing, investigative journalism. What is investigative journalism? It is critical, right? Investigative journalism will always be critical towards the system. It will do an investigation which is not in public. It is hidden, and that's why you need to do investigation. And journalists go for that and bring out such things before the people which may be against the establishment, against the established government. That's why journalists need to do investigative journalism. And due to this investigative journalism, a lot of journalists uh, lost their lives also. In recent reports by international institutions, it is said that in every 8 minutes, one journalist is killed. And the reason is simple, that those journalists are vulnerable who go for investigative journalism, right? So it is critical, first of all. Second is deals with important subjects. It is not like that you go and have some personal clips and do yellow journalism. Suppose one leader is having some affair, and you go and cover that story. That is not investigation, basically, because it is not important subject. It is his personal matter, right? And journalism should not be focused on that. It is negative journalism. It is called yellow journalism, right? So investigative journalism must be deals with important subjects which are uh, I mean, related to common people, which are related to common good of the society. So it must be related to important subjects. It is your own initiative. You don't say that you are not getting support from your institution, you are not getting support from the system will not going to support it. It is your own initiative. You have to decide that yes, you want to go for it or not. Own research, you have to go for research. It is your own research, right? You can have your like-minded people with you. Take the example of Sushant Singh Rajput case, whether Aztak tried to introduce some of the his ex-driver or ex-security man, and Aztak tried to bring out that Sushant Singh Rajput used to take drugs, because all his ex-drivers and all these people said that yes, he used to take drugs. So this story was exclusive because it was not available with any other channel. There are three types of investigative journalism. right? First is uncover scandal. If there is some scandal, Bhopal's was a scandal. So if you want to uncover Bhopal gas tragedy, that if you want to uncover that, how I mean the people authority of that company uh, was allowed to go out of this country overnight. So that was a scandal. That was a scandal. So if you are uncovering that kind of scandal, that is investigative journalism, right? Second type is review of policies or functioning of government or organizations. So any policy of government, state government, central government, any organization, if you want to review it, how it is functioning. So that kind of journalism is also comes under investigative journalism, and draw attention towards social, economical, political, and cultural trends. So any new trends in the society, any new kind of social trend, cultural trend, economic trend, if you want to investigate on that thing also, that also it comes under investigative journalism. You must be thinking that how economical things can be investigative journalism. Don't think that if we talk about investigation, it is only a CBI kind of investigation or spy kind of investigation. No, investigation means that detailed reporting. You just ponder upon a particular things. Suppose some policies coming up. Take the example of the government decided to give loan, small loan through Bandhan Bank to so many people, common people, small traders. And if you want to do an investigation on that thing, that how many people got loan and how many people are using that loan for the economic purposes, so that kind of investigation also comes under investigative journalism, right? So this is the first thing. Second is what is investigation journalism is not. So many times we feel that yes, we are doing investigative journalism, but so many times it is not investigative journalism, it is negative journalism. Daily reporting, if you are reporting a particular thing, daily basis reporting, that cannot be a investigative journalism. Leak reporting, if you get some leak and you just leak a thing, you don't work on that. Suppose I get a leak that yes, some officials are very much involved in corruption, so and I report that thing without investigating the thing, I report that thing. That kind of journalism is leak reporting. If I want to do investigative journalism, then what I will do, I will go and look upon the details, that who are the people who are giving money to the officers, and who are the officers involved in it, and what is the negative effect of that kind of relationship between them. So that kind of investigation is needed. Otherwise, if you are not doing investigation and you are just reporting the leak information, that is not investigative journalism. Misuse of information, right? If you get some information and you misuse it, so that kind of thing is also not investigative journalism. Paparazzi journalism, which I am saying, paparazzi means yellow journalism, that you just run behind a celebrity and you want their private pictures. They are on beach, or they are on some affairs, they are on pub, they are going abroad with his boyfriend or his girlfriend. So this kind of things, and you go and start reporting about this, that kind of reporting is called paparazzi journalism. That is not investigative journalism. People may feel that yes, you are running behind a person and you got a click, you got a photograph, oh, what a great picture and what a great investigation. No, it is not an investigative journalism at all. Investigative journalism is watchdog journalism. The main focus is that you are a watchdog. Why are you doing investigation? Because you want to make our system accountable, you want to make our authority accountable, right? Exposing how laws and regulations are violated. There are some laws and there are certain regulations, and all these officers and some people are violating this, and if you are bringing this out through investigation, that is investigative journalism, holding the powerful accountable, right? So these kind of journalism can be considered as investigative journalism. Peace journalism. Peace journalism, as I told you, that peace journalism deals with bringing peace in the society, making people less emotionally charged. So how media can do it? Media can presenting causes of conflict and opinions of all sides realistically and transparently, right? So we must be very much realistic and transparent while reporting a thing. Take the example of recent when Corona pandemic was in started in India. At that time, media reported the things like that Muslims are very much responsible for increasing the cases of Corona in our country. And there was a meeting, I'm forgetting the name. In Delhi there was a meeting of Muslim intellectuals and Jamaat. Okay, yes, there was a meeting of Jamaat, and the media started reporting that like that
Tablighi Jamaat, sir.
Tablighi Jamaat, yes. So media was reporting it like the Tablighi Jamaat is responsible for increasing the cases of Corona in Delhi and other parts of the country. And that kind of reports were not realistic. It is not transparent. Though at that time also, media used to say that 30% of cases, Corona cases, belong to Tablighi people. And at that time also, I questioned that what about 70% people? 70% people are not Tablighi. It means that more cases belong to non-Tablighi, right? So I mean, media should not behave like this. Media should be transparent, media should be realistic, and this kind of report create divide in the society. This kind of reporting is not good for the society, right? So this is how. So you must be very much honest while reporting a thing. If you are anything causes, what is the cause of conflict, what are the opinions, different opinions. You should not be reporting only one kind of opinion, right? So this is how media can bring peace in the society, and it will also be helpful in intellectual development of our people, right? As giving voice to all rival parties, right? It should not be partisan kind of journalism should not be acceptable. Give voice to all rival parties. If you are reporting Kashmir, give space to the voice of Kashmir also. It is not only government voice should be getting space in newspapers and TV channels, and they should also be given space in media, so that people may know that what are their concern, what are their point of views, right? Offering creative ideas for conflict resolution, development, peacemaking, and peacekeeping, right? So bring up creative ideas to conflict. Media should always be interested in resolution. So bring ideas how to bring resolution, how to bring development, peacemaking, peacekeeping. It is not only peacemaking, how to keep peace for longer period of time. Exposing lie. If people or leader or any party is lying to the country, it must be exposed. And paying attention to post-conflict development. It is also important that after peace is established, after that, what kind of development is taking place in the society, media should always be vigilant, and media should try to keep reporting a thing which may be helpful in keeping the peace, and post-conflict development should be peaceful, right? So this is a very much, new kind of journalism. This is emerging right now. I think after 2000, this kind of journalism has started, and it's a very new field. And I feel that this is very important in country like India, where we are very much diversity in cultural diversity, linguistic diversity, religious diversity, all kind of diversity is here. So in country like India, peace journalism is very much needed, and we have to establish the fact, we have to promote, the media should promote, I think, that we are a country who believes in unity in diversity. We are diverse, we are but we are united. So this kind of journalism is needed. So this is new field. And another, green journalism, environmental journalism. As I told you, that green journalism deals about the reporting of environment. So there are 8 principles of environmental journalism. First is the right to a clean environment is related to right to life. Journalists must believe in this, and journalists should make people aware of the environmental threats. This is your first principle, that clean environment. If we are in Gaya and if you are not having good air quality, then it is violation of our right to life. We may die before we complete our expected life, right? So it is related to our right to life, and journalists must understand it, or journalists should make people aware of the environmental threats, so that people may start asking for better conditions, better climatic conditions, right? In Patna or even Gaya, or if there is rain and your house is filled with rainwater, what kind of thing it is? People must ask for a clean environment, clean surroundings, right? So the first principle is this, that it is related to our right to life. Second is raise awareness of people by reporting variety of views. You must, media should keep reporting about various variety of views related to environment. People don't bother much while cutting a tree. And go to Shimla, you will find that if people have to build a house and there is a tree in between, they cannot cut that tree. They make space for that tree. Even in winter, you will find that they left a space for that tree, and then they do linter. In their roof, you will find that, yes, in their roof, you will find that there is a tree going up. So these kind of things, people are very much concerned about trees in Shimla. There are laws also. So, but in Bihar, people don't bother in much, right? So, people must be aware about the environmental thing. After alerting, journalists should follow up the issues and also suggest some solution, right? It is also important that you say that, yes, climate, there is a global warming and one day we will die, right? So this kind of alert journalism should not be there. After alerting people, you must suggest some solutions that we may overcome this situation by doing this thing, right? Fourth is, journalists should not be influenced by the vested interest, right? Go to the tribal areas, and on the name of development, there are so many newspapers who support that, yes, this area is rich in minerals, so tribal should permit government to dig that area and cut the trees. So reporting is also going on. So it should not be influenced by the vested interest. Right? Capitalist people, some people involved in these kind of things, they will give you money, they will try to bribe you, but this should not be influenced by these people. Journalists should avoid alarmist, biased reporting. There is a alarmist view means, as I told you, that yes, this our planet is in threat. This kind of alarmist reporting, biased reporting should be avoided. Environmental journalists should foster equity in gaining access to environmental information. Right? You must be very much believe in equity. It means you should get environmental access from all the parties. It is not only that you get information from one party and leave the other parties. So you get information from all the party. You must believe in equity while gaining access to the environmental information. A journalist should expect the right of privacy. While getting information, you must respect privacy of the people. If people don't want to share their information, you should leave them. It is important because if you go to tribal areas, there are so many tribes, they don't want to communicate with the modern people. They don't want to communicate with the urban people. So if they are not ready to communicate with you, then leave it. Their right to privacy is important, and you must respect their right to privacy. A journalist should correct information if found incorrect, right? So I have an example that if you sometimes what happens that you get some wrong information and you report that information, and after that if you find that yes, you have committed some wrong, then you must correct it in upcoming article or in upcoming uh, news item. You must correct it that yes, that information was wrong. because it is very important while doing journalism, because there are so many organizations, so many institutions who are bringing up reports about our environment, and it is quite possible that sometimes we get wrong information and we report it. So there is no harm in it, in accepting that yes, we have committed some wrong and this is the correct information, right? So these are certain important journalism. Rest I have discussed with you. You can go by your own and read about all other types of journalism which I discussed, that is civic journalism and intellectual development journalism, and all other types of advocacy journalism. So these were three new area of journalism. That's why I decided to discuss about it. Rest is very simple. You can write on Google and you will get some information about all that type of journalism, and I will also provide you some material regarding uh, all those types of journalism, right? So that's all. This is end of development journalism. So thank you. uh, if you have any question, you can ask now.